Oh my gosh. So, literally, before I started to film for you today, the song I've been waiting for this moment all my life. And I'm serious. When I tell you that, you finding this, you finding me, us finding each other on this amazing little 5 day journey that we're doing. Um, Welcome to day two. If you haven't seen day one, go ahead and go back there, watch that one, absorb it, and then come back to be present for this one because this is video two. So something really fascinating when I became awake, right? And I started to get my life back after this deep depression. And there's a lot of people that talk about certain times in your life when all of this stuff happens. And I realized something, that there was a lot coming through that I wasn't aware of, right? So wherever you're at in your life right now, there's so many messages. And if you can give yourself just these 5 days to go through these concepts, hop on the 4 day challenge. If it started, we have that free. I get to run alongside you guys wherever we're at with that when you listen to this. But really to just give yourself the gift of, with these audios, being present, even whitewashing and letting go of maybe other trainings and other things and experiences that you have been through just for the sake of this, and really giving yourself the chance to dive into these experiences with me. So with that being said, I didn't get to share this on the first video, but I joked, but I called these the 5 night keys because literally in the middle of the night, I woke up with utterances, like the words came out of my mouth. This was around 3 or 4 in the morning, and it just like came up and out. So today for day two, again, if you haven't watched day one, go back. But today for day two, this was what came out. This was so funny. In the middle of the night, it was inertia, and it was like, I was like, what the heck? I was like, Ursula, like Little Mermaid? Seriously, this is just my life, guys. And it was inertia. And later that day, I ended up going somewhere where they had a huge sign about what inertia is. And it was not a coincidence, right? So these 5 night keys, the things that we're talking about in this, like all the things we should know as children, all of the stuff, whatever you want to call it. Inertia, movement. A body at rest stays at rest. A body in motion stays in motion. And when I was in the depths of that depression, and I finally said, like, God, take me or use me, I did not want to live anymore. The next day it was, I heard, get up and move. It was the voice so clear. And I've heard that voice so many times now, and I'm sure you have too. And going through this 5 days is going to help reawaken and help you remember some of the things that have been spoken to you and over your life. So on the concept of inertia, and Tara, get up and move. At this time, I could only walk for 7 minutes. And all of a sudden, when things really started coming to me, movement, right? Exercise. So what has exercise been to you in the past? What have you been taught about exercise? For us, like growing up, and a lot of reflections from those of you I work with that we've heard from, it's like weight loss and cardiovascular health. And what we're going to talk about today is something, it changed my life forever. And I had owned a gym for 10 years before, or sorry, probably 6 or 7 at this time, before I even discovered this. And it was the fact that there are certain body movements, what part of what the world calls exercise, that we can actually do for our brain. I remember one day I asked Google, what is the most vital organ in the body? And it's the brain, right? Sometimes people think the heart, but it's our brain. And what you're going to discover today, is not taught in schools, was not given to so many, and now people around the world can get this understanding. And if you haven't shared this video with a friend yet, definitely make sure to share with them the first video, because this is a game changer. So regardless of what you thought exercise was in the past, today we're going to talk about something that we've created called activators. And activators are 6 body movements we don't do in a day. So picture this, even like in the kitchen, when was the last time you lifted your hands up above your head? This is like the power and the simplicity, just like the vision that you hold for yourself in your mind about what you are and how you see yourself. Moving our body in ways that we don't do on a daily basis. So in the 4-day challenge, I'm going to give you these actual activators that you get to follow along with. But Why are they called activators? Because they activate the mind state. And what I have discovered is that if we are not moving, and this is like, I wish it wasn't true, guys, but if we are not moving, I have never been able to see my highest self image in my mind because of a chemical state. So with movement, activators, that's what I'm going to share now. The simplest visual that is so powerful, because before when I would talk about the brain, people would check out. So you're still with me, right? Have you ever seen those fish at the fair, those beautiful betta fish? And you get them, you bring them home, they're in that perfect clear container, and they're happy and they're swimming, right? Well, what happens after a few days? The water gets murky. It gets a little cloudy. For being honest, the fish is swimming in its own you-know-what, right? I call it the poop emoji. But this is what happens to your brain. When you have stress, if you are not moving, it's a combination of other things too we're going to talk about in some of the other videos, but if you have stress, fear, cortisol, fight or flight, like this is all only a chemical state. If you can hear me, it's just a chemical state. They have said, like antidepressants, for example, are serotonin. They are mimicking a drug that your brain and body produces naturally with movement. 4 days of activating, and you can have 3 to 4 times more serotonin than any pill can attempt to ever give. And this is all for awareness. That our emotions, the way we feel and the way we think about ourselves is not just the thoughts and the image about ourselves, but it's the chemical state of the brain. So, inertia, movement. Today, your 5-9 key, day 2, the second key, ding, is about movement. How much movement are you getting in your life and what are you doing? The other things that I've seen that don't work to get to peak state, right? We're taking you to the highest of highs of whatever it is that you want to be, do, and have, and running alongside us. I don't actually run, by the way. I power walk and I activate. But if we're just walking, think about this, right? It's not going to actually wake up your brain the way that an activator can. If you are working out too hard, and I'm coming from a gym industry, you are putting a chemical state too off balance. So starting today to think about what if exercise and movement was specifically designed for us to activate the chemical state of our brain to get us in peak state. I'm going to be referencing the emotion scale as we go further because Dr. Hawkins discovered that when we have certain emotional states, it causes our body to have dis-ease, sickness, illness. I highly recommend the book if you really want to get into the science, but if not, I will put the link to the map of consciousness down below. Now, the other people who were operating in a higher emotional state were not sick, did not have this dis-ease. So the combination of your new self-image, your identity, if you're looking to reinvent yourself, get out of a bad relationship, get out of a bad career, just wanting more from life, right? You start with that self-image. And the second thing is the chemical state of the brain, which can determine your emotions. Because if you think about your brain as that fish in the tank and it's swimming around in a bunch of garbage, you're going to stay lower on that scale. So I love talking about this. Again, we'll have the exact activators that you can go through, but the 5-9 keys, day 2, is inertia and movement. And what have you been taught that exercise is, and what have you been doing on a daily basis? And if you find yourself with anxiety, find yourself with depression, find yourself doubting yourself, questioning yourself, getting angry, remove the emotion for a minute. It's a chemical state of the brain that you can change in as little as 25 minutes. Okay, so the next part on video number 3, I'm super excited to go through when you combine these two, how we can work with helping you get rid of those old self-images and the images that other people put on you and came from outside sources that you don't have to live with anymore. So I'll see you on the next video for that one.